All right, so we've all seen generative AI do some incredible things, right? Creating jaw-dropping art, writing essays that sound like they're from a PhD. But what if I told you its biggest impact, the real revolution, is happening somewhere you don't even see? We're talking about deep inside the complex information systems that basically run our entire global economy. Let's dig in and see what's going on. Yeah, exactly. The flashy, creative stuff, that's what grabs all the headlines. But behind the scenes, this technology is quietly rewriting the rules for how businesses actually work. So the big question is, how is it doing that? And maybe more importantly, what's the catch? What are the risks we're not talking about? Okay, so before we dive deep, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. What is generative AI? Well, at its core, it's all about creating something brand new. It's not just crunching numbers. It's learning the underlying patterns and data so deeply that it can actually generate new stuff, new text, new images, new code that feels completely original. And that ability to create, well, that's what's kicking off a massive revolution in the business world. I mean, companies are practically tripping over themselves to get this tech integrated. And not just for some flashy new app, but to make their core operations faster, way smarter, and just a whole lot more efficient. And you know what? You've almost certainly already run into it. Think about it. That marketing email that felt like it was written just for you? Or that customer service chatbot that was actually, helpful for once? Or even the tools that are helping developers code new apps at lightning speed? Yep, Gen AI is already all around us. But the real magic, the really transformative stuff is happening under the hood, inside these information systems. We're talking about all that boring, tedious work like data entry just disappearing, totally automated. Imagine an executive getting a summary of a massive report, not in a few hours, but in seconds. Even the way we interact with data is changing, shifting from clunky old dashboards to just having a simple conversation with our systems.
And look, this isn't just about making things a little easier. This is about supercharging the absolute core of a company, the engine room, if you will.
Okay, so every single business runs on data. But here's the dirty little secret. A lot of that data is a complete mess. And this is where AI is an absolute game changer. It can sift through millions of records to spot errors. It can generate perfectly clean synthetic data to test new systems. And it can automate that painful, grueling process of data prep. Just that one thing saves an unbelievable amount of time and makes every other decision a company makes that much more reliable. You can really see this power in two key areas. On the one hand, you have the operations side, the nuts and bolts. AI is plugging into things like ERP systems to forecast demand and manage inventory with just insane accuracy. Then, on the other hand, you have the customer side. It's powering CRM systems to analyze customer sentiment and personalize pretty much every single interaction. And remember, this isn't just cool tech for the sake of cool tech. What's the result of all this? You get a business that can react way faster to changes in the market and, at the same time, build much stronger relationships with its customers. That right there is a massive competitive advantage. So it all sounds pretty incredible, right? A powerful engine for growth and efficiency. But you know how it goes. With any tech this powerful, there's always a catch. So what are the dangers lurking just beneath the surface? And that brings us to the flip side of this whole thing, the hidden risks. And trust me, they're not small. I mean, let's start with the one we've all heard of, deepfakes. The exact same technology that can generate helpful, creative content can also be weaponized to create incredibly realistic, but totally fake images and videos. The potential for spreading misinformation and just completely destroying trust in what we see online is, well, it's huge. But the problems go way beyond just misinformation. We're stepping into a massive ethical and legal minefield. I mean, think about it. These AI models learn from enormous amounts of data scraped from the internet. What happens when that data is copyrighted material? And then, who's the author? If an AI creates a brilliant piece of art, who owns it? The programmer, the user, the AI itself? The law is way behind on this stuff. And on top of all that, this revolution is creating a bit of a security nightmare. There's this thing called shadow AI. That's when employees, trying to be productive, use public AI tools without permission and end up feeding them sensitive company data. Whoops! And it gets worse. The bad guys are already using AI to craft phishing emails and malware that are more convincing than anything we've ever seen before. So with all these massive challenges, what do we do?
How can a company actually use this incredible power without stepping on all these landmines? Well, it all comes down to a really deliberate, strategic approach. It comes down to governance.
And we are starting to see governments step in. A huge example is the EU's AI Act. It's really a landmark piece of legislation. What it does is it classifies AI systems based on their level of risk and then slaps some pretty strict rules on the high-risk ones, things used in hiring or law enforcement. And what's interesting is we're seeing two very different philosophies emerge. You've got the European Union with this really comprehensive, top-down regulatory approach. Then you look at the United States, and it's much more fragmented, a patchwork of state-level laws and voluntary guidelines. It's a huge global debate, and it is far, far from over. But for businesses on the ground, just sitting around and waiting for governments to figure it out, that's not an option. They have to be proactive. That means, 1, appointing actual leaders, like a chief AI officer, to own the strategy. 2, it means getting the tech, legal, and business teams to actually talk to each other and collaborate. And 3, it means using real frameworks to assess risks and keep track of every single AI tool being used. Because at the end of the day, good governance isn't about putting the brakes on innovation. It's actually the exact opposite. It's what makes sustainable innovation possible. It's the bedrock that builds trust with your customers, keeps you out of legal trouble, and lets you build new things with AI that are both ethical and built to last. Which really leaves us with the big question of our time, doesn't it? As this technology gets more and more powerful, do we have to make a choice between pushing innovation forward at all costs and being responsible? Or is there a way to do both? Can we find that balance and build a future where AI makes us better without forcing us to sacrifice our values? The truth is, that's a story that's still being written.